Hi everybody, and welcome to my Fallen Earth stats and skills guide. Now this guide is designed mainly for beginner users, so I probably cover a lot of the basics most players will already know. But the idea is just to explain to everybody how the stats work and how you should really be spending your stats and skills as you level up. Now the first thing I can't stress enough is wait until you're comfortable with what you actually want to go into before you spend any AP. It's the reason for that being is that if you change your mind, respecs are extremely hard to come by. I've got one on this character purely because of the fact I was playing the game when it first came out, and because of some of the changes that were made, every character was given a free respec. I've just used that now to show you exactly, I've got 40 AP on this character, and I'm going to show you how it all works and how to, and the ideal way to spend it, or the ideal way to look if you were going to spend it. Now, first of all, AP is earned every time, from what I can tell, that this yellow ring here completes around the AP bar. This bit here in the centre tells you how much AP you have to spend. AP is used to increase stats and skills, but it doesn't increase mutations and trade skills. I'll cover those in a second. Now, stats, as I've mentioned before, these are your basic so-called special stats, so to speak, to steal a term from Fallout. These do not directly impact your ability to do damage or to hit things, but these do affect the total amount of points you can put in the skills that do directly affect those. So I'll show you. These are your skills, and as you can see here, we've got armor use, athletics, dodge, first aid, group tactics, melee, pistol, rifle, and social. Now each of these here, the total that skill can go up to at the moment is dictated by two other base percentages, as you can see here. So for armor use, you've got coordination and endurance. It takes 75% of endurance and 25% of coordination. That then works out your max skill in armor use. So that's what your stats do. They dictate the maximum level. Now if we go back to stats for a second, for example, each stat takes 5 AP to raise it one level, and the maximum level any stat can be raised to is 45. Skills, on the other hand, only take 1 AP to raise, and as I've said before, they directly affect your damage or your ability. So for an example, I'm going to make this character, where is it? I'm going to make him a pistolier, I think. So that uses dexterity and perception in a 50-50 arrangement to generate my total. Now if I wanted to, I could fill that bar up all the way. That's it, so that's now going to cost me 26 points, 13 points, and that brings the total up to 26. So if I then apply those changes, in fact I'm not going to apply it because I'm going to be jiggling around with respecs, that would fill this bar. What that means is my pistol skills now cannot go any higher through me investing AP in it until I invest AP to increase the stats that go with it. So I'd have to spend maybe a point in perception and a point in dexterity, which would increase that possibly by 1 or 2 points. So that's the basics of stats. So what I'm going to do with this character, you can select a character build here, as I've mentioned before. Now you can either go for a specific role, such as leader, medic, melee. Mutant would probably be a caster style effect. Pistolier, as I was going to look into a minute ago. Rifleman, trader, a member of Chota. Now these ones here, trader, Chota, enforcer, lightbearer, tech, traveller and vista, are the main factions. In fact, if I bring up the faction wheel, as you can see here, that's the main factions. Now there used to be a point, I believe, where factions had a larger effect on what you were able to get access to. It doesn't seem to be so much now. So if you specifically want to build towards a specific factor, you can always pick there. For example, the tech are quite pistol based. Travellers, pistol, athletics kind of thing. Now what we're going to do, where is it? Pistolier. So as you can see here, if I select Pistolier, the recommended place to have my points at the moment is halfway in armor use, dodge and pistol. So let's pop those points in there. As you can see, it's only costing me 1 point to crank the levels up on these. And the stats it recommends there. Now when you start putting points in stats, this is what happens. As you can see, 2 points and I've already spent 10 AP. So stats are kind of your last priority. Get your skills to points that you're happy with, then spend it in stats. Willpower is the odd one out of all these stats because it doesn't directly affect anything other than mutations, and it affects it to 200%. So if I was to spend some points in willpower, so say 3 points in willpower, and that's Actually, let's not do that for the minute. What that would do, as you can see here, pushes that up to 32. It was 24, so if I just clear the points out again. So with no points in there, it's 26. With points in there, 32. And then mutations are required for using pretty much all the spells of the game. I'm going to keep calling them spells. I give up. It's a Warcraft term that I've gotten stuck in my head. So yeah, that's how the mutations work. That's the only stat that doesn't work on a mixed percentage. It's 200% of willpower dictates the top of your mutations. Also, mutations don't scale up with AP. They pretty much, whatever you've got in willpower is your maximum there. Now I'm going to swap characters now to my crafter character to show you a few other things that are worth seeing in the stats, skills, mutations windows. Okay, now the reason I said I was changing character is to show you this here really. If you look on the edge of perception, I've got this green bar here. Now that is due to an item that I'm wearing that increases my perception. I go down to, where is it, the compass here. This compass gives me +1 perception and +2 nature. That is reflected directly in here. That, however, does not count towards this cap of 26. So I can actually push my AP in here to 26, but my perception would actually be 27. That would have the relevant effect on this skill here as well, raising the cap. As you can see here, my rifle skill has got a massive green area in it because I've got an item improving my rifle skill as well. The same goes for social. Now, what that does mean though is that, say my max is 42 here, and it currently says I am at 42 plus another 7 from the modifiers. Those modifiers, sorry, I am at 42, but 7 of those points are from modifiers. And you see that it breaks it down so you can see exactly what you've got there. What that means is, although my level is 42, I can't actually use anything of level 42 value. I can only use what my attribute skills cover. So what I've actually spent points in, I can use. What the boost is giving me, I can't use weapons with that. It increases my damage. As you can see, the skill rifle, pretty much, the base value is based on 50% dexterity. Sorry, not the base value, what we're after. Yeah, your ability to use rifles effectively. It allows you to use better rifles and increases the damage I inflict. Now what that is that green area there is giving me a damage boost directly to rifles. Can't use better rifles because it's not my stats being spent in it, but I can have a damage boost there. Trade skills is another example here. As you can see, trade skills are made up of certain, so you've got intelligence and perception. All of them are intelligence and perception, which means they all have the same top level. But as you can see, some of these are at 50, 55, 52, 53, because I've filled the bar, so that's at 48, but then that's got +5 modifiers on top of it. Same for nature. I filled it, but it's also got modifiers on top. So again, modifiers are great because it means I can mine the mineral node. In the case of geology, I can now mine a mineral node up to level 50. But it does mean if I take off the gear that's given me that boost, I go back down and I've then got to relearn the skills myself without the boost in place. So that's boosts generally. Again, they're useful if you want to increase your damage or you want to increase your skill level at doing something. Not so useful if you actually want to learn a new weapon or something like that. From what I've learned and from what I've spoken to people in the guild, doesn't make a blind bit of difference what you can equip if it's boosted. It has to be your genuine spend of AP stats there. In fact, I'm going to show you this in play. I'm going to put 3 points into rifle. So as you can see there, I'm now going to be quite close to 42. If I apply that, yes I do, I've still gained that +7 modifiers. All it's done is moved it along now, so my total is 45. Again, that's all because of the boost. Like my total here in social is entirely because I'm wearing the Steam-based special edition t-shirt. +10 in modifiers. I'm not putting anything else into that, it's just modifiers there. So that's how modifiers work. And that's kind of something you've got to be aware of. Even though you see the bar is full and you've got, oh yeah, I've got 45 total, and you can't equip a weapon because it goes your melee skill must be 45 or your rifle skill must be 45. The reason for that is because it's boosted. It's not your own doing there. In fact, I will show you quickly. Where's my rifles? That's 27. I haven't got one that requires 45. It's got a crossbow actually. Yeah, see that requires rifle 45 to use, which, as you can see in my stats, it says I have rifle 45, but because it's boosted, doesn't count. Okay, so that is the basics of the stats. The final ones, mutations, again, I've not really touched on mutations enough to give a clear description. As I said, they're based directly on your willpower, but that's about all I can tell you on mutations at the moment. Trade skills, however, I've spent lots of time on. Now, these are all leveled up by crafting. So armor craft, it ties in directly with what you craft, how you make it. Geology is mining. As you can see here, my geology skill registers as 45. On here it's shown as 50. So geology, when you're crafting stuff with it, doesn't take into account the boosted amount on it. It only takes into account your base amount, so to speak. And all of these are directly tied in. So to level each one, so armor craft you level making armor, ballistics, bullets, rifles, anything like that. The list goes on. The odd one out here is mainly geology and scavenging, because scavenging only seems to be leveled through picking up plants, herbs, not plants and herbs, sorry, picking up like trash, rubbish on the floor, things like that. And geology is, although you can level it by making skill books, most of your leveling for geology is done by beating things out of rocks with picks. Now, one other thing I'm going to mention quickly is here. As you see on my duster, the modifier is -1 coordination, so it adds a load of resist. You can kind of ignore them at low levels, but the modifier is important. That -1 coordination is directly taken out of my coordination skill over here. So as you can see, my coordination is actually 17 -1. So I've gained +1 points from something, and I've gained -1. So it's not gone anywhere. As you can see, the red area is what I've actually lost from it. If I took the duster off, without calling out my friends list with my fat fingers, as you can see there now, it's just 1 on its own. Put the duster back on, the modifier will reoccur. Now, since coordination's not really needed as a rifleman, I've changed it to crafter at the moment, but I'll put it back to rifleman. Oh, okay, I stand corrected. It is needed as a crafter. Whoops. But yeah, coordination is dodge and things like that, so I'm guessing you kind of need it for wearing armour and that. So yeah, watch out for the red ones going down. These ones here as well, athletics, because I've got that minus modifier on, it directly affects these ones here. So again, if I take the duster back off, skills, gear, that's going to swap me directly. Oh, I see. Unequip that. As you can see, they reset back to normal. So be aware of that. Modifiers that directly affect your stats will also directly affect your skills. And whether they're plus or minus ones, they will directly affect your skills, because you're bringing down the cap, the high end of it. So I think that's pretty much everything I can think of to cover stats. And it is a lot, and it takes a while to get used to it. But again, I'd highly recommend that if you're bored, give this game a try. I'm going to put the link to the free trial now. Finally found it on their site in my in the video description. So feel free to take a look, give it a try. Say hello. My character name, you've probably seen the title screen. My main character is Tanaris. It's spelt like the Desert in Warcraft, but I had the name before them. I swear it. And the other character that I also use, Ignatius Beam, is used purely for recording questing video. So if you see me on that character and you do say hello, don't be surprised if the answer's a bit short. It's purely because I'm trying to record stuff. Okay, so the video might work out shorter than I expected, but I'm hoping it gives people a good idea of how the skill trees work and everything else. And if it doesn't, then I've kind of failed miserably. Anyway, I've been Metroid2K, and this has been another NubWatch on Fallen Earth. I will see you later.